All right, so this session is going to be on creating a digital escape room. And we are actually going to go through it in 5 steps. So I'm going to walk you through how I create my personal digital escape rooms, my thought process behind it, how to quickly create the elements. So when you're thinking of digital escape room, you want to remember 5 things. You want to remember that you have a prompt, you have some sort of backstory to hook your readers, or those who are experiencing the breakout room, so your students. Then you're also going to decide on what clues you need to help your students solve the mystery. You're going to create your images or elements. I'm going to show you some examples of those. I will also link tons of resources within the Canvas course, things that other educators use to create those elements so you don't have to recreate the wheel. Then we're going to talk about how you can go into Google Forms and use the response validation as a way to create digital locks. And finally, we're going to talk about how you can wrap it all up together and create it into a Google site. And then that site is then what you would use with your students. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so I just wanted to draw your attention. I do have a digital breakout Google site already created for teachers. If you are interested in it, I will link it in the Canvas course. These are digital breakouts that teachers have requested, and so I've went ahead and made them for them. And I'm going to use it as kind of my starting point so you can see these elements in effect. So we're going to go ahead and you're going to see I have them grouped by grade level. If you are a teacher, first of all, this site is not to send the students to. I should have prefaced that. This is for just teachers. But if you need the lock combinations, I don't have them on the actual pages. You actually have to hit the so like if you are a 3rd through 5th grade teacher, you're going to hit 3rd through 5th grade, and you're going to see on that site, on that page, is I have an embedded Google Doc that has the lock combinations on it. All right. That's one of the reasons you don't want to send students to this, because it's good. They're going to have the combinations there. I also have a lock worksheet available for you. I find it easier for students, if they're in person, for them to have some place to keep track of the lock combinations. Granted that now that we are virtual, maybe you would just have them, keep it on a Post-it note or something at home. But that resource is there for you. Anytime I do make a new digital breakout, I add it here so that you have it. So let's go ahead and explore one, just so you kind of see what the overview is, the elements you're going to need, and then how you can build one. So we're going to go ahead and look at Escape the Nightmare. And this is a Halloween one that someone had asked me to create. So premise of it is Nightmare Before Christmas. Jack is trapped in Christmas Town and he needs to escape before midnight. He needs your help. So here's my story. This is not a very good story, but it is the first element, having some sort of story to grab your audience. Now, if I were doing this with a content area, maybe I would have more. And then I'm going to have a variety of things for them to do within this Google site to help them solve the locks. And you're going to see the locks are right here. So they're going to have a 2-digit lock, a 4-digit lock, a word lock, a color lock. And I have it so that it tells them they don't have to spell the colors out. They just use the first letter capitalized of that so that it does recognize it and it unlocks. And then a directional lock. And this is for 3rd through 5th grade. So I don't give them a lot of clues other than I say use the links above to study and solve the clues. And so I have a variety of different activities that I have built related to this content, related to the story. So for example, if they click on Jack's map, they are going to get an image that I created in Google Slides. It's literally just a slide deck with one picture on it. And their task here, once they figure out, is this is the directional lock. So they have to figure out, how does Jack get from where he's standing to the pumpkin? And if they know the turns and they keep track of those directions, they'll be able to solve the directional lock. All right, so that one is kind of a simple one. Same with the Jack's poker hand. Just an image that I created within Google Slides, and I believe they have to add these up. I believe they have to add, and it turns into one of the lock combinations. Next one is an invitation. All right, once again, it is a Google slide picture that I just have in here, and I can't remember. I can't remember what this clue leads to, but at least it's something. And then I have the color combo. And then that's going to be, you know, for the color lock. And this is really neat. So this is a Jigsaw website, and I will put it in as a resource. But the kids actually go in and they build a puzzle. The kids love this one. You can actually do it on your BenQ too. But they put the images together. And then once they build the puzzle, it's going to give them the color combo to unlock the color lock. So that's another one that's here. And then the last one is Jack's skills, which takes them to a Google Sheet. And within the Google Sheet, if they click use the template, and they go in and they actually solve for so they do, you know, 7 minus 2, and they put the 5 in. It's going to change it. It changes its color, and it actually will spell out a word for them. All right. So a bunch of different like activities for them to do, all surrounding the topic, but giving them those hidden clues to then put into the Google form. So then the students would then put it into the Google form on the first page, and they would be able to then unlock or solve the problem. So this is what the kind of overview of it is. The next step I'm going to show you, or the next clip I'm going to show you, is kind of some of the ways I create certain things that I include in my Google site. And then I'm going to show you how to make the Google form and put it all together in a Google site for your students. All right, so let's go ahead and get started making a digital breakout. And so I have all of my digital breakouts in one folder, and I build each breakout in its own folder. So we are actually going to work on one called Too Much Nice, based on the premise of a word study that 4th and 5th grade was doing, where the students are using nice too many times. I thought I would take that idea and use it as a breakout. So after I've made the folder for Too Many Nice, or for any of my breakouts, I actually go and I change the share settings right away so that anyone with the link can view. This is going to help in the end when I start putting everything into my Google site so that people have access to all of the things. So within my folder, I'm going to start making my activities. And usually I like to do at least 2 or 3 different locks. I would say 3 being the minimum, up to probably like 5. 5 is a good number, depending on how much time you want to have your students work on this breakout. So I already started building an activity. And this one is going to be a 2-digit lock combination where the students are going to have to sort these words. And based on what they'll sort, then they'll count up each word, how many are in people and how many are in food. And it will give them the 2-digit combination of 34. So there'll be 3 people ones and 4 food ones. So that's one I've already created. I'm good to go on that. If you are going to do some sort of sort, I do recommend you glue down your background so that they can't move this stuff. And that you also think about when you're using words like this, actually making it in Google Drawings and then saving it as a picture, downloading it as a PNG and uploading it as a picture. That way it's easier, especially for our K2 students, to click and drag, because you're going to see it doesn't give them the option to like type in the box. And it's just easier for drag and drop, I've noticed, for littles especially, to have the words in picture form versus as a text box. All right, so I've went ahead, and this is going to be one of my clues. There are a bunch of different options you can use for clues. This is just one of them that I'm choosing. I'm going to link a resource in the Canvas course that has tons and tons of resources. We're going to make one more together, though. So I'm going to go back to my Google Drive folder, and I'm going to work within slides. I find that I do a lot of the building for a breakout within my slides because they can show really nicely when I make a Google site. So I want to show you, one of my favorite things is to do a hidden, like a hidden image. All right, so I'm going to change the layout of this, and I'm going to make it blank. All right, and then I'm actually going to go ahead and add a background image. And let's do a Google search. And I want to search for a pool. And let's see, maybe I want to do a resort. I want something like really tropical. All right. Okay, so you can have different hidden images or hidden URLs in a Google image or a Google slide. So let me just. All right, so here's what I want to do. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in a shape, and let's do a circle here. And I want to hide it maybe like by the mountains over here. All right, and then I'm going to actually make it so that the color is transparent and the outline is transparent. And now it looks like nothing is there, right? But I could actually link it to this image, okay? And so I'm gonna go ahead and paste that there. And then my students, if they clicked on it, they would go to the image, and now I could actually use this for my color combination lock. I could make a color combo lock from this and have it be yellow, red, blue as the color order. So that works out for me. So I'm gonna go ahead and add that to my clues. I just keep them on Google Keep for now. You can, if you prefer to keep them on Post-its, it's just for personal reference. So color lock, which is going to be yellow, red, blue. All right. And I'm going to name this color lock for now. All right, so let's say I have my a few of my images or a few of my hidden elements. The next part is to actually make a Google form that is going to house that's going to be what they're going to have to unlock. So I'm going to go back to my Google Drive and go into that folder, and I'm going to hit New Google Form, create it in this folder. And we're going to title it Too Much Nice. All right, and for my 2-digit number lock, we're going to have it as a short answer, but here's where the important step comes in. You're going to hit these 3 dots, and you're going to do response validation, and then you're going to do text. I'm sorry, you're going to do number is equal to, and then for this one, we want our 2-digit number to be equal to 34. Sorry, I had to look there. And then custom error message. So this is where you're going to have where it just says keep trying, meaning they did not unlock it yet. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and add another lock, and this is going to be my color lock. And I always put in parentheses capital letter of the capital, first letter of the color word. No spaces. Or example, red, green, blue would look like RGB. So I do that just so that they know how the format, because otherwise it can get confusing to them. And then for this one, you're going to do regular expression, matches, and for our color lock, we were going to have it be yellow, red, blue. So we're going to do yellow, red, blue. And then keep trying for if they don't get it correct. All right. So I would add more locks, obviously, if this was an official, if this was official breakout room. But so now we have 2 elements. We have our lock. Now it's time to put it into our Google site. And I think the building of a Google site is probably the easiest part of this. It's usually the thing I do last because it's really easy to bring it all together. So in order to build your Google site, go to site.google.com. If you've never been to Google Sites before, this is what it will look like for you. You're going to go ahead and hit a blank Google site. And I promise you that after you do you build your first breakout, the process goes a lot faster. I know right now it's like, oh my gosh, this is a lot of work, but it's really not. And you're going to be able to use them year after year after year. And you're not going to do them every single day. Usually I do them when it's like a big event. So maybe like an end of a review, a special occasion, when you're noticing your students could really use a challenge. All right, so this one is called Too Much Nice. All right, and Too Much Nice. And we can go ahead and change our image here. So let's select an image. Let's search. So let's see if we just search the word nice and see what happens. Oh, I like this one. Let's see. Maybe I want to do friends. Perfect. That sounds good there. All right. And now we're going to bring in our elements here. So the first part I do is I add a text box, and this is where I'm going to add my story. And I kind of like to do it as like along the side. So this is where we're going to bring that story in, the first part that I talked about having some sort of grabbing to get your audience excited, get your audience connected. So 4th and 5th graders, Franklin Elementary, are using the word nice too many times. It is now a banned word. Help our students by unlocking the synonym Okay, obviously this is not like the greatest one, but you get the idea. All right, now we're going to build our site, and we're going to bring in some of the elements that we just worked on. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to bring in our Google form. And you're going to click on forms. You're going to see your most recent should pop up. So since we just made one, you should be able to see it as one of our most recent options here. Perfect. We can go ahead and insert it. All right, once it's in here, you can actually go ahead and drag it so that it's right next to those word choices. And you're going to see your students will be able to submit it right within their Google site here. Okay, and we're also going to add our elements. So you can add them on different pages, or you can add them all on the same page. Use the clues below to solve the locks. All right, so I can actually go ahead and bring those slide decks in that I was just building. And once again, really nice because it's going to bring in ones that I was just using. So for example, here's my color lock. I'm going to insert that one. All right. There we go. And like I said, it looks like there's nothing there, but I'm going to show you when I publish it, you're going to be able to see that they can actually click on that hidden object. And then I'm also going to go ahead and bring in my drag and drop activity. And actually, I just remembered. So my drag and drop activity, I wanted to be a template so that they can actually work with it. So in order to do that, I'm going to go back to this. And I use this extension called Sir Links-a-Lot. I'm going to click template, copy this link, go back to my Google site. I'm actually going to insert it as a page. And okay, I'm going to link it here, and we're going to call it nice sort. You can see it's popped up here now. All right, so I have all those things there. I would go ahead and add the rest of my stuff if I had more locks, but I only have 2. When I am finished, I'm going to go ahead and publish it. And I always change it to anyone with a link. Publish site can be anyone. It can be public. I do that just because in case anyone else would want to use it outside of our district, especially like if I go to a conference or something. So I'm going to go ahead and publish it. When you're ready to see your published site, you click on Copy Published Site Link. Go ahead and copy it. And now you can check out your published breakout. And you're going to see, so my nice sort is up here, so I can click it. It will take me to a template. And I'm going to click Use Template. This is what your students would do. So they would use the template and complete the sort. All right. And then they can also, if they scroll down, they're like, Mrs. Glad, nothing is making sense. Why is it not working? You're going to have one student or 2 in your classroom, especially, who are going to be like, hey, my mouse changes when I maneuver it over here. And if they click, it takes them to that hidden element. All right. So this is how I build my digital breakouts. Please reach out to me. I know the first time doing this is like, whoa, that's a lot. But I promise you, after you do it once, your students are going to love it. Okay. Also, when they do the form, if your student does not type the correct response, so if they type 37, this is where the keep trying comes in, versus if they type 34, they won't get that. Okay. So that's how the lock works as well. If you have any questions, let me know. The next part of this is for you to do some exploring on your own, including exploring a bunch of resources on how to actually create some of these really fun hidden elements. Like I said, if you have any questions, reach out. Otherwise, you are all set.